So people often stop and ask me, they say, what's the Zodiac? Man, my sign, right? I just tell them I'm a child of the Most High. Even then, they then go to asking me about my birthday and what date that's on. So when I tell them, they tell me my subsequent sign, so to speak, and begin to tell me about myself based off this sign. I automatically try to divert these conversations because I'm a stranger to you, especially if I just walked up to you on the street, right? I know human nature is that we want to know. We want to know everything. We don't like to just, I guess, sit idle or have faith. We want to know because sometimes, when you have knowledge, you may find yourself not really needing faith, right? Because what is faith, according to the scriptures, to believe in things that have yet to come or are unseen. And of course, humans, we have this uncanny, insatiable appetite to just want to know, even sometimes at our detriment. So anyway, I always try to divert those conversations, and it's been a growing trend. Obviously, it's been there for thousands of years, but it's been a growing trend now for a lot of people. The concerning part for me is the people who claim to believe in scripture, and I see them engaging in the Zodiac, the astrology charts, and they think it's just, I don't know, like they think it's like, I don't know, fun and games maybe. But it isn't. It's actually diametrically opposed to the faith that you are told or you profess to have. Because divine revelation, oracles, all these things are supposed to come from the Creator, the Father. Yeah, it's not supposed to come from the Zodiac. And people say, well, astronomy is in the Bible, yes, but there's a difference between astronomy and astrology. And I was talking to a young lady one time before, and she kept being so big on the Zodiac, and she can't get along with this person who's this sign, and whoop the whoop, and how it's in the Bible. I say, sweetheart, when you open up in Genesis, you'll see signs of astrology, because you see that Yah starts to create the stars, and sets them in the sky and things of that nature. And when you read in King James, it talks about these things giving us seasons, but that word they got from season really means moed. And that doesn't mean season. It means set apart time or set time. So it has nothing to do with the equinoxes, the solstice, any of that thing. But it can be misleading if you don't do a little bit of research. So in short, like, astronomy is the observation of the heavenly bodies. Just the observation. You observe them in conjunction with what's taking place down here on earth. Astrology is the observation and worshiping, the conjuring. There are people who pray to Saturn. There are people who conjure up Mercury, and these were all gods and deities in antiquity, and until this day they still are. And these things will have you inquiring about your future, your love life, whether you'll get a job or not, all this other crazies. Because, again, whenever our Father gives us divine revelation, it's always to something that's going to serve His will. But we don't really care about His will. We want, what about me? And astrology comes in and gives us me. Astrology says, we're going to focus all this on you. I'm going to tell you who you are. So people read these charts with an identity crisis. And they go to they sign, and automatically they find their identity because the charts told you who you were. So the charts are going to tell you what you're going to do. The charts are going to tell you how you're going to react or respond. And the thing about it is, I did a little study, and it's like the more you peer into these charts, the more you start to become what you read. And this is with any phenomenon. If somebody repeatedly tells you you're a slave, 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 this is what you're reading to find out who you are, then what do you become? Why do you think after every 12 years in this country they release some big slave movie? Just in case a few people forgot who you are. Let us remind you on the big screen in front of everybody. So whether it's The Color Purple, whether it's 12 years a slave or whatever years it was, what I'm saying is every 10 to 12 years in this country, they drop a slave movie. Because the more you keep shoving it down somebody's throat, especially if they seem to be looking for it, that becomes their identity. So when you have all these insecure people, and in the thousands, millions, billions of us, even opening these charts, trying to find out who they are, and they read it, they become that. But if they was a Cancer and they just happened to be reading the Gemini's chart and had no idea, you know that over time they would start to adapt to the ways of a so-called Gemini. Fact. Big fact. That's how easily duped we are. And that's why we're told to lean not on our own understanding. We're told not to follow thy heart, for it is wickedly deceitful, who can know it. And that's in the prophet Jeremiah. And ironically, that's actually where I want to start to give you a couple of scriptures, because a lot of times people will give you guys just like, feelings, opinions, and the whole nine, and they may not even involve his word. So let's open up and go to Jeremiah 14. Chapter 14, I'm starting verse 14. It says, Then Yahweh said to me, The prophets prophesy falsehood in my name. I have not sent them, nor commanded them, nor spoken to them. They are prophesying to you a false vision, worthless divination, and the deceit of their own heart. Kind of goes into conjunction with what I was just telling y'all earlier. We want to know about us. People walk around today and they say, look, I made my mind up, don't confuse me with the facts. Ain't nothing different, you hear me? And this Zodiac, this astrology chart, gives us just that. It tells us what we want to know, what we want to hear. And it doesn't come from him, but some people may pretend as if it does. From here I want us to go to Daniel chapter 4 verse 7. In Daniel chapter 4 verse 7 it says, So the magicians, the astrologers, the Chaldeans, and the diviners came in. And I related the dream to them, but its interpretation they did not make known to me. Now, for those who aren't familiar with what's happening here, the king of Babylon, Nebuchadnezzar, had a dream, and he was trying to, decipher the meaning of it. And of course, the king had the wise men around him, the astrologers, the diviners, the bone shakers, the people who believed in the Zodiac, and they were supposed to be able to interpret his dream. Problem is this dream came from the Most High. Second problem was what we just read in Jeremiah. These people were interpreting lies, deceit, things that were not of the Most High. And it was being made aware to the king that your own wise men are lying to you. How wise is that? To the point where the king had then issued an edict that he was going to kill off all the wise men for being phonies. Well, here comes Daniel to the rescue, and Daniel will tell you in this chapter that he is no diviner, he has no special power, but that the Father has revealed these things unto him. And he then goes on to reveal the true prophetic meaning of the dream that the king has. No astrology chart, no zodiac sign, none of these things were able to reveal it. As a matter of fact, it caused their death, because they were marked for death as a way, because they believed in these things. Had they put their faith in the Most High, they'd have been okay. But thank goodness that Daniel was there. From here, I want us to go to Acts chapter 16. And in Acts chapter 16, we are going to start in verse 16 all the way down to verse 24. It says, And it came to be as we went to prayer, that a certain slave girl possessed a spirit of prophecy or divination. She did meet us, who brought her masters much profit by foretelling or fortune telling. Having followed Paul and us, she cried out, saying, These men are the servants of the Most High Elohim, who proclaimed to us the way of deliverance. And she was doing this for many days. But Paul, greatly annoyed, turned and said to the spirit, notice he didn't speak to the girl, he spoke to the spirit. He says, I command you in the name of Yahshua HaMashiach to come out of her. And it came out in that same hour. But when her master saw that their anticipation of money making was gone, they seized Paul and Silas and dragged them into the marketplace to the rulers. And having brought them to the captains, they said, These men, being Yahudim or Jews, greatly disturb our city, and they proclaim practices which are not right for us to receive nor to do, being Romans. And the crowd rose up together against them, and the captains tore off their robes and commanded them to be beaten with rods. And having laid many blows upon them, they threw them into prison, commanding the jailer to keep them safely. Who, having received such a command, put them in the inner prison and fastened their feet in the stocks. So they were in the depths of the jail. It was what you would call being below the jail. But that's not even the biggest point that I'm making here. The point is, you had this slave girl, who I'm sure was probably, their junior. She was probably younger than them, and she's prophesying. Lets us know that one, these spirits, even evil as they may be, don't always lie. Because the spirit easily gave out truth, saying that these men are the men of Elohim, and they proclaim the way. She's speaking truth, but rather the spirit is, and would have continued to give them up had Paul not have got annoyed and cast out the spirit of divination, which again is one of the commandments that we're told to abstain from. Now again, when you start to inquire into the zodiac, the astrology, these are forms of divination. Though they may seem fun on the surface, just like the Ouija board, it's another form of divination. And by doing so, again, I've said before, you open yourself up. You don't know it, but one day maybe you just want to contact the charts and see what your fate is for the month of August, right? See what your fate is for this week, or your love life. I mean, honestly, when you really boil down to it, it's vanity. You think the Most High is sitting here watching every move of your life to see if you're gonna, and telling you to take this job, hey, eat this food, hey, put on these clothes today. But your zodiac chart will, because it gives you a false sense of importance. It makes the entire universe about you. It does. It makes the entire universe about you, no matter how big or small. It's always about you. You can tap into this guardian, this Gino, this genie, this Juno at any given time, this guardian angel to tell you about your fate and about who you are. But if you need more biblical proof to slug away at this zodiac sign and how one, as a true believer, should not have one, according to you guys' standard, right? When are you given a zodiac sign? It's not on your conception, D. Like, while you're in your mama's belly, you haven't been given a sign yet. Your sign comes when you come out the womb. Then, so that's your birthday. That's why they always ask when they ask me what's my sign, I tell them I'm a child of the Most High. They initially go to, what was your birthday? Because that's how you determine someone's so-called sign. And then again, the sign is supposed to tell you about this person. But according to scripture, Yah had already known you before you were even born. In Psalms 139:13, it says, "For you created my innermost being. You knit me together in my mother's womb. I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful. I know that full well." That's Psalms 139:13 and 14. Most likely David speaking. And see here, he says he's wonderfully created. No zodiac chart had to tell him that. But perhaps the biggest kicker verse is actually found in Jeremiah, who was one of the high prophets. He says, and this is in Jeremiah chapter 1, verses 5. "Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. I appointed you as a prophet to the nations." Right? That's in Jeremiah chapter 1, verse 5. Again, our Creator already knows you. Before the womb, in the womb, when you come out of the womb, He knows you. If He set you apart to do a job, that's His doing, not the zodiac chart. So again, if you are a believer, I beg you to do as the homie Joshua instructed us to do. Check for yourself today whom you shall serve. The zodiac charts. But for me and my family, we shall serve the Most High. He is going to put our paths in alignment, not these heavenly bodies being in alignment. He will set our path and our trajectory, and all these things and many, many more should be held in His name with His choosing. And before I end this video, I just want to see, on the more secular note, I think the Zodiac is for insecure people, and I also think it looks really, really bad on men who walk up like Biggie used to tease him in that song. Who you attracting with the line? What's your name? What's your sign? It's whack. It's whack. Soon as you buy that wine, I just creep up from behind. It's whack. I see these men out here engaging in this stuff too, and it looks weak to me. It looks weak to them too. They just won't tell you, you know. But anyway, for the true children of Elohim, the few remaining anyway, again, choose for yourself today. And leave that to the pagans and the heathens, man. That has never been our thing. It's a very Babylonian thing, very ancient thing. It predates Christianity. It predates all the big religions that we know of. You know, Judaism. It's a very pagan thing. It's just not ours. So anyway, I hope this video has been enlightening. If you have any questions, comments, please drop them below. And y'all bless.